We are now in the second game cycle with the Playstyle system, which replaced traits once EA ended their partnership with FIFA and turned the series into EA Sports FC. Now, there's a lot of speculation about why EA made this change, some of it suggesting that there were maybe some questionable motives. From my perspective, it's been a welcome change, especially when I look at how they've implemented it with Evos, letting people take players from their favorite clubs and turn them into actually usable players in the game. I think it's been cool. Now, we could spend a whole video diving into the ins and outs of Evos and how EA have rolled them out, but I want to focus on playstyles, specifically the ones that I think need adjusting or in some cases removing altogether. Before we get into that, let's clarify what playstyles are supposed to be. According to EA, they're designed to make players more unique and authentic by giving them distinct abilities based on real-world data, enhancing gameplay and player individuality. And honestly, that sounds great. Who wouldn't want that to be in FIFA? I definitely do. The issue though is how that plays out in practice. While EA say that playstyles are supposed to make players feel more authentic and varied, their implementation, particularly through Evos and promos, often does the opposite. Evo upgrades frequently restrict the number and the type of playstyles a player can have. And because some playstyles are so much better than others, all that does is create anxiety around upgrading. On top of that, promo cards that lack the meta playstyles and playstyle pluses are often completely ignored, regardless of how good the rest of the card is. What this creates is a meta where only a handful of playstyles are actually desirable. People avoid putting certain playstyles on their cards and players start to feel less unique, not more. It's just reskin versions of the same playstyle archetypes, which is why in this video, we're going to help EA and give them some suggestions for how they can adjust the playstyle system to improve it and make the game a bit more balanced. And so to do that, what I've done is I've separated playstyles into different categories, and we're only going to talk about 3 of the 5 categories I've made. The categories are no change. These are playstyles that I think are fine. Maybe they need some tiny tweaks, but I think for the purposes of this video, you can leave them alone. Then we've got some notes. We're also not going to talk about these playstyles. There's very minimal changes I would make to these. Then we get into need changing playstyles. I think these playstyles definitely need changing and rebalancing for the sake of the game. Then we have literally awful. These playstyles are just terrible and they need complete fixing. And then finally, we have the just remove it category. And I think these should just be removed from the game / a completely new system should be designed to accommodate for them. So let's get into the video. All right, so let's get into our first tier of playstyles in the need changing category. Now, these are playstyles that I think warrant being playstyles, but I think they just need to be adjusted to accommodate for the game and actually make them desirable for people. Let's kick things off with whipped pass. Now, I feel a little bit bad for whipped pass because it had a bit of hype in the start of FC25 when people were crossing and heading. Heading has effectively been nerfed into the ground, and I think that's a good thing. I think heading was incredibly annoying when people were running, design plays like it was Madden to score corners. People still do that with acrobatic, which we'll speak about in a minute. But yeah, I think power header needed to get nerfed, or at least heading needed to get nerfed because it was super annoying. A lot of the time, there was just nothing you could do about it, which was the most frustrating part. But as a result, whipped pass has sort of been a casualty in that nerfing of power header. I think whip pass has a place. All of the other passing playstyles I think are good. I think generally just non-playstyle passing should be improved, but that's a separate topic, I think, than this video. I think whip pass has a place on the game. I just think it needs to be redesigned a little bit. I don't know if it's like make low crosses better, make like driven far post crosses better. Something needs to change with whipped pass. There's also something weird about whipped pass, and I'm not sure if I'm just not using it right, but it feels like the whipped pass passes are really like lofty and loopy, and like they almost let the defender have more time to get into position. I don't necessarily feel like someone with whipped pass has better crossing. Like I know the icon comes up above their head, but whenever I use it, I'm like, was that a better cross? I can't definitively say that it was, which is why I think it deserves to be a playstyle. I just think EA need to do something about it to make it worthwhile having on like my wingers and my fullbacks. I definitely don't think crossing should come back because, like, if we're going to be completely honest, running down the byline and crossing it and then scoring either an acrobatic kick or a header is not really a very skillful thing to do. And so I completely understand that that needs to be managed. But I think whip pass does have a place in FIFA. It needs some changing from what it is now, because I personally do not ever look forward pass on any player for any reason. So there we go, first one. Next up, we have power shot. Now, this one might be interesting for a few people because I think some people still find some utility in power shot. And I know at the start of FC25, people were raving about it. It was the greatest thing ever. Marmouche and Tell and everyone else were so desirable. They were super expensive because they had power shot. It's really fallen off since then. And I think that's just because people have gotten better defenders. And the fact of the matter is, you still, even with the Playstyle Plus, need more time to take the shot than a regular shot. And a lot of the time when you're close enough to take a shot, you just take a regular shot anyway, or you just finesse it or trivela it. However, I think power shot is actually being implemented wrong in the game at the moment. I think power shot should remain, but be redesigned and marketed towards centre mids, specifically players like Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, people that just took a lot of long shots, or maybe not a lot. Like, listen, don't get me wrong, long shots aren't really scored that often in real life, but for the purposes of the game, I think we need a new mechanic to score outside of the box. And I'd love for us to be able to transition away from Trivela outside of the box goals. And I think finesses are fine. I think if anything, finesses from outside the box, green time, need a slight improvement, but we'll speak about that in a moment. I think power shots need to be remarketed towards centre mids with very high long shots and shot power. There should be a system where if you have a centre mid with really high shot power and really high long shots and this Playstyle Plus, and you take a long shot, there should be a very high likelihood that you score, especially if you're not being impressed by a defender. I think that part of the playstyle needs to be very key. But I think if you're in acres of space and you're playing against someone who's literally just defending for their life, they don't want to press you at all, you have Steven Gerrard and he has this playstyle, and you take a shot from 5 to 10 yards outside of the box and it's relatively head on onto the goal, so you're not from like a crazy angle or anything, I think those should go in. I see no reason why that shouldn't be in the game. I think high skill players will easily be able to defend it, which won't make it a problem. And I think people who just want to sit back and defend are going to be punished for it. I think that would make a perfect use of this playstyle and take it away from being what I think people see it as a striker's playstyle and move it more into a centre mids playstyle or even a fullback. And so yeah, that's my suggestion for power shot. Next up, we have something that I know some of you are going to be complaining about, and that is anticipate. And the reason some of you are going to complain is I think anticipate is too good. I think generally tackling, and specifically tackling from behind, need to just be reimagined, because I don't exactly know what EA think a foul is, but it isn't what I think a foul is, that's for sure. I think anticipate, when you actually think about it, is a stupid concept to begin with. Like, I get why you'd have it in a game. It's like, oh yeah, tackling, give this playstyle that makes tackling better. Why? Why do we do this? This playstyle literally defends for you. It is stupid. If you press the tackle button, it will literally wait for the optimum time to actually perform the action. What? What kind of play? What? What do you mean? What do you mean? Why are we helping poor defenders? I'm not even saying, I think, listen, have the playstyle, but the way it currently exists, and in fact, the new update that they've added with where the playstyle lets you retain possession more often if you have anticipate or anticipate plus. Love it. Love that. Keep it. We can't have a playstyle that defends for people. That's literally, like, what? What are we doing? Why? Why are we trying to help bad defenders? Help bad defenders by beating them so that they learn how to not be bad defenders. That's the whole point. Yeah, in summary, I just think anticipate is, I'm 50-50 as to whether it should exist. However, I definitely think it needs to be nerfed. I think it's way too overpowered. I don't think there should be a playstyle that defends for you. I think generally speaking, it would improve our gaming environment if this was implemented. All right, next up in our need changing category, we have First Touch Plus. Conceptually, I like First Touch Plus. I do. I just feel like it doesn't do enough. I just don't know if I feel First Touch Plus the way that I feel like I could feel it. Allegedly, it says, they control the ball really well and they're able to basically transition from taking a touch into dribbling really quickly. I just don't know if I feel that enough. I feel like the concept of what that playstyle should do is good, but it needs to be ramped up, in my opinion. I think these players need to take literally perfect touches every time. Like, if you have First Touch Plus, that's all it is. You take a first touch. Like, you can never compare that playstyle to Finesse Shot, which literally will get you goals in games whereas this just gets you a first touch. I think because of how intrinsically different the value of the actual outcome is, the first touch needs to be like incredible. Like, I need to feel it. I need to see him take like an incredible touch, and it needs to be like across everything. Like, it needs to be amazing like chest touches, it needs to be amazing in stride like running touches, it needs to be perfect like headed on touches. I feel like that just doesn't exist in the game right now. I feel like, sure, they do take better touches, but like I hold L2 a lot when I take a touch, and the players like the touches are fine. I don't really think that first touch plus gives you enough of a boost that I feel like it could. And so this is why first touch is in this category. I feel like it's a good play style. They just need to ramp it up a little bit, because at the end of the day, I mean, you're taking a touch. Like, I need some more, you know? All right, next up, press proven. Again, a playstyle that conceptually I wholeheartedly agree with. Like, yeah, cool. Someone, you know, is really good at shielding the players off and whatever. There is a little bit of, you have to be careful with this playstyle, because sometimes you come up against players, and this is especially when, let's say you're 2-0 down, 3-0 down in the 60th minute of a champs game, for example. Recently, I've been coming up against a lot of people who are just time wasting. Once it gets to the second half, where they're just time wasting, they either kick it to the keeper, then to the centre back, right back, and they're just wasting time. Or if something like press proven was as overpowered as maybe you could make it, you could just hold it with a player. I can never get the ball off you because it's my striker on your like centre mid and he doesn't have good tackling, etc., etc. Point is, there is a fine balance to strike with press proven. However, and I think this is a point I want to make in tandem with the realigning that EA need to do with behind the back tackles, I just feel like having press proven base and plus doesn't make you as immune to behind the back nonsense tackles as it should, is where I'm going to go with it. And maybe that's just a case where tackles behind the back need to be nerfed and that would solve all problems. That honestly could really be it. I just, again, in a similar way that with first touch plus, I just don't know if I see the utility in press proven. It might be a case also that just EA haven't been putting them on cards that I'm using, and therefore I'm just not being exposed to the playstyle. That's definitely the case, because I even remembering like last year, I don't know how many cards had press proven plus, but I feel like the first time I used press proven plus was on a card like really, really late down in the game cycle. I know it's a playstyle they don't really give out as a plus very often, but that almost gives them the indication that they should adjust it. Again, I think it has value, and I think conceptually what the playstyle aims to do is good and should be in the game. I just don't think currently it's being implemented in a very good way. Final playstyle in the need changing category is acrobatic. I have mixed feelings about acrobatic, okay? Ever since they nerfed headers, these cyborgs have effectively come up with ways to score acrobatic corners. They're not super consistent, but they are still possible. And there's also this weird thing where people that have trickster and acrobatic do like the trickster flick up and then the scissor kick that loops over your goalkeeper's head. Again, doesn't happen very often, but quite a stupid mechanic. Now, I do like acrobatic and what it brings. I just don't know if, and we circle back to the point of like, because of how Evos work and how they restricted the number of playstyles you can have, like how am I supposed to equate acrobatic plus to rapid plus, to quick step, to finesse, to low driven, to pinged, to all of the actual good playstyles? How am I ever supposed to put acrobatic on the same level as all these other playstyles? Now, I'm not saying that like all playstyles are supposed to be equal. There are obviously parts of the game that are more important than others. I just feel like it's such a massive punishment to have acrobatic plus on one of your players, especially if it's a player that you're planning to evo. If we're talking about having acrobatic plus on an endgame card that already has like 5 playstyle pluses, sure man, whatever, slap it on there, don't really care. But I'm not sure it has. I feel like in what it does, it's quite well balanced. Like, you can't really score the acrobatic shots that easily, but when you're open, the volleys are much better. You do bicycle kicks and they're quite good. You do sometimes a cool animation where they stick the leg out and stuff. That stuff is all amazing. But is that a playstyle? Is that playstyle plus worthy? I don't know. I struggle with the concept of trying to equate it to these other playstyle pluses that I feel like do bring me value. And I'm just not sure Acrobatic does that. So that was our last need changing playstyle. Now we are moving on to what I have coined as these playstyles are literally awful. And we only have 2 in there, but let's discuss them. So first one is power header. Now, this playstyle is effectively useless. I mean, we've talked about already how headers were nerfed, and I think rightfully so. I think corners last year were so stupid. In fact, they changed it at the beginning of this year, right? You could still do proper headers at the start of this year. Anyway, whenever they changed it, I think it was a necessary change. Like, I think headers are too low skill to be as good as they were. But now the players that have power header plus, I don't know how many of you have like actually used a power header player and tried to head the ball with them since they nerfed headers. Buddy, these headers are awful. They are awful. If headers are going to remain as bad as they currently are, this playstyle should just literally be removed. And I know that, like, again, conceptually, I agree with like why it should exist. You know, it is quite a skill and it would be quite beneficial in real life if you had like a guy who could like head the ball really hard and accurately, and that could lead to lots of goals and stuff. But I don't know how I justify the existence of being able to header because it's such a low skill thing to do, while also justifying the existence of power header plus. I just don't know how power header plus exists in this climate without being an utter nuisance to society. And so that's why it's landed in the literally awful category. I'm not sure this playstyle can be salvaged. I think maybe there's a case to be made for making like a sub playstyle system where these playstyles aren't contributing to the current playstyle system because they're just not impactful enough on the actual gameplay to warrant that, basically. And when we talk about acrobatic, for example, if you have a player who has 9 or 11 playstyles and 3 of them are, let's say, acrobatic, long throw, and power header, and that player is now eligible for an Evo, why? Those playstyles are literally awful and most of the time incredibly useless. Why can't you just still Evo that card? I get it, because from their perspective, those playstyles could be rapid, tiki-taka, and finesse shot. But it's not. And so I think where we can't elevate playstyles to at least, you know, somewhat compete with the other playstyles and playstyle pluses, maybe we bring traits back, man. Maybe, you know, maybe power header becomes a trait. I just think I don't know if I can justify its existence in the current system. And I don't think EA can justify it either, because if we look at how many cards have actually received power header plus as a playstyle, like promo cards. Yeah, so if we have a look here at the cards that have power header plus as a playstyle, I mean, it's not a very long list, but it's also not a list of players that I think anyone really uses. Sure, Hincapi might have got some play time when he came out. I've used this Carragher a lot because when he came out, I actually needed a centre back, and he has some good regular play styles and some good stats. I mean, the rest of these cards, I feel like just get no utility. I mean, Shearer, Veghorst, Inform Kototo, Russo, a player of the month, Lewandowski, that like, these are just not cards that anyone uses, and EA have clearly identified that. Yet some cards still get power header as a plus. It's not many, as you can see, but some players have it as a regular playstyle. Why? I think clearly EA know, as much as we know, this probably shouldn't be a playstyle anymore. And so that's why I think power header is just awful. Moving on to our other just awful playstyle. Before we get into this one, I think this playstyle is very, very easily redeemable. I think the way that they've implemented it now is absolutely atrocious, but I think it is a very easy fix, and that is for the playstyle chip shot. I think we can all agree it's a pretty horrendous playstyle. The reason it's horrendous is because keepers save chip shots far too much. That's the first thing. But also, it feels like chip shots, even with Chip Shot Plus, and I have tested this recently, it feels like the chip shots are far too slow. I think if you're going to have a playstyle plus dedicated to chip shots, these guys literally, if the situation calls for a chip shot to be used, where a keeper is coming out, it's effectively a one-on-one, these players should take the chip shots incredibly rapidly, like incredibly rapidly. I don't care if the if he doesn't have very good dribbling, the chip shot should literally trigger immediately. Goalkeepers should not be able to save these shots, basically ever. If they're rushing out and you use the chip shot and you use it on time, the keeper should not be able to save. I don't care what goalkeeper play styles the goalkeeper has. Chip shot plus should overrule everything always, is my opinion. We should always be trying to give the benefit of the doubt or the benefit or the advantage to the attacker. So in my opinion, the way you fix this playstyle is make players who have this take the chip shot incredibly quickly. Make the trajectory of the shot really low, but also, I mean, as high as you need it to get it over the keeper, but low enough to where defenders can't clear it off the line, and make the shot super, super quick. I don't care if it looks like it shouldn't make sense physically, like the ball drops faster than it should. I don't care. I think the playstyle itself actually has some merit. And like, if they implemented it and made it so that these players literally finished every single time, if they were one-on-one and the keeper's rushing out, if you have chip shot plus, it's basically a guaranteed goal. If that's what that playstyle was, and if that's what that playstyle became, I'm all for it. Bring it all in. I want it on all my strikers. Give it to me. Give it to me right now. The way it's currently constructed, it stinks. It stinks, man. Chipping just generally stinks. I think that just needs a rehaul. Full stop. The base playstyle stinks, and the plus stinks. The ball gets cleared off the line way too much, and the keeper save it way too much. If you just fix those however many things I just listed, honestly, this playstyle is pretty decent. You see what happens when you give people an option to score with low driven. It's such a small change, but like it's such a massive playstyle that I feel like everyone wants now. You can literally do the same thing with chip shot. All right, and here we are in our final category, the just remove it category. Now, what playstyles do we have here, you might ask? Well, I'm going to start with the absolute worst offender. I'm going to give you all a second to try and guess what the absolute worst playstyle in this game, in my opinion, is. Long throw. Yep, it's long throw. In making this video, did a little test. I have Team of the Year bronze. I packed her during Team of the Year. She has long throw plus, which, by the way, not an easy trait to find because, again, EA, of course, know that this is a horrific playstyle. I tried to test this playstyle. I took this long throw. Guys, I'm going to be honest, like, she threw the ball in play, I guess. Like, how this playstyle, I honestly, like, how can anyone, how could, when they were coming up with playstyles, who justified making this into a playstyle? Like, how does this make it through the process? This is awful. This is not a playstyle. This isn't even a trait. Like what utility does this give me in a game? What can I do? Like, I was shocked to see how bad it was when I did it in game. There's literally no benefit. It wasn't particularly quick. Like, sure, I guess it was accurate, but whose throw-ins aren't accurate? Like, what? And this is a prime example of, like, I now have, so I think base Lucy Bronze has either long throw. I think she actually does have long throw plus, but it's like at the beginning of the game, right, where they're like, oh, max 1 playstyle or max 0 playstyle pluses, and you want to evo Lucy Bronze, and she has long throw plus, and you're just there like, I can't evo Lucy Bronze because she has long throw plus. Buddy, this is the most useless shit of all time. Why is this here? But it's a perfect example of, like, if EA are going to continue limiting playstyles, stuff like this cannot exist. Like, this is so utterly useless. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how useless this playstyle is. I could go on for hours. Long throw plus. Are you joking, bro? And please don't send me any clips of people like doing weird stuff like, oh yeah, no, you can actually play like a throw ball, like with a throw. Please, like, have sense, please. Can we actually be guided for a second? It's awful. Get rid of it. Get it gone. Get it gone. That's all I have to say. Moving on to the next one. Right, next up in our just awful, no, sorry, in our just remove it category, my apologies, is Trivela and Trivela Plus. The reason it's in here is because there's a couple of points I want to make here. Trivelaing in FIFA or FC is way too easy, right? I score way too many goals with Trivelas. They are way too good. No one scores in real life Trivelas, really. Like, they are so rare. Like, when do people hit it with the outside of the foot? Very, very rarely. I think one, like we discussed before, power shots / long shots need to be made better. And I think finesse shots, non-playstyle plus finesse shots, whether that's just the soft finesse or no finesse, need to be made better. Both of them, outside of the box and inside of the box. That's my opinion. Trivela Plus, the way that EA describe it, right? Let's just have a look at that. Contextually triggers outside of the foot passes and shots. What the is the point of that? That's like if finesse shot said contextually triggers finesse shots. Now, some people will tell you that Trivela Plus improves Trivela's like speed and accuracy. I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure that it does, and I really don't see any evidence that it does, because I Trivela a lot. A lot of the players that I Trivela with do not have Trivela or Trivela base or Trivela Plus. What they have is high shot power and high long shots. Maybe sometimes curve. I don't need a playstyle that contextually triggers outside of the foot passes. All I have to do is press L2 and it doesn't. I can do that. And also, what does the plus do that the base doesn't? Get it gone, get it gone. And finally, there are 3 playstyles left in our just remove it category, but I want to speak about them together because I think these are playstyles that should be in the game, but I'm not convinced that they should be playstyles. Now hear me out. The 3 playstyles that I'm talking about are Deadball, Flare, and Trickster. And this is why. Trickster is a cool playstyle, but I think is a bit of a meme playstyle. If you remove the fake shot that you get with Trickster, it's a bit of a rubbish playstyle, if we're being completely honest. Especially in higher skilled games. I just feel like, yeah, sure, man, like I'll do a sombrero flick and some cool like juggles and stuff, but like, and again, if EA are going to continue this like limiting playstyle and playstyle pluses theme that they have been, I don't think things like Trickster, Flare, and Deadball should be pluses. Now, let's speak about Deadball as well. The reason I think Deadball shouldn't be a playstyle or a playstyle plus is because, one, you only ever really want one player on your team to have this playstyle. That already is a problem, especially when you're talking about promo cards where you don't get to control what EA add. If EA give Roberto Carlos, Pirlo, Miyama, and someone else on your team free kick plus, I say on your team, it's not like they just give you the cards, but you have those 3 players on your team. All of those guys have Deadball plus. I hate to break it to you guys, but only one person can take a free kick. And because you can just take a Trivela free kick, you don't really need more than just one free kick taker. And so this playstyle just becomes redundant as soon as you just have one player that has it. And so I can't really justify this existing as a playstyle or a playstyle plus. The reason I wanted to speak about all 3 of these playstyles together is because I think they do qualify for like a lower tier trait system. I don't know, like a sub playstyle system. Maybe these playstyles just shouldn't have a plus but should have a base. I think that's actually probably quite a good balance. Like Flare base, Flare base Deadball, base Flare, base Trickster, but they can't have a plus. I think that's probably quite a good compromise, right? Where, okay, you can't have them as a plus because, like, and Flare. So yeah, because like, okay, cool. I understand that with Deadball, the line gets longer and stuff, and I think the ball travels faster and they have better trajectories and stuff. And like that's cool, but again, it's just like how do you justify the existence of that when you only really ever want one player to have it versus like all these other playstyles like Anticipate, Technical, Finesse, Low Driven. It just doesn't make any sense. And so again, I think there should maybe be a creation of a system that's below playstyles, or some playstyles just should be limited to the fact that they can't be a plus. Which brings us on to Flair. Again, I like it, you know, some players have a bit more flair, you know, you want to show a bit of yoga bonito. Some of the Brazilians, you want to make sure that people know that they're Brazilians. Listen, I'm all for it, mate, yeah? Give it to them. Flair plus, I mean, what even is that? I mean, we could, by the way, we could have done this a number of times with a few of the playstyles. Let's have a look at Flair plus as a playstyle plus. Who has Flair plus? I mean, EA have made it a place. I'm sure tons of players have Flair plus. Oh. They give it to Informs, which, by the way, how fucking cheeky of them. They basically give it to Informs only. They gave it to Mason Greenwood, which we won't speak about too often. And apart from that, it's base cards and 2 promos. I mean, on the one hand, they've effectively just done what I've suggested, where Flair is kind of just a base playstyle and not a playstyle plus. But if you have the base Julie, or this Williams, and you want to Evo them because they're only 86 rated, you just have to have Flair plus as one of your playstyle pluses. Why? What does it even do? What does Flair plus even do that base doesn't? Someone tell me. I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea what the difference between those is. Which is why I think we should just remove it. Or, you know, like I said, demote it to only being a playstyle base. And so for that reason, with Deadball and with Flair, I just think we should maybe limit some playstyles to not be playstyle pluses. And also, I think there needs to be a realignment of EA and the Evo system, because I think the Evo system is one of the biggest barriers to a lot of these playstyles. Because, like, again, I mean, now that we're here, imagine you have a card, right? And he's 86 rated. One of the better examples of this is Gianluigi Buffon, who I can quickly flash up, right? Gianluigi Buffon, he is 91 rated, right? But when this card came out, literally no one used him. This card was completely ignored, even though, like, on the face of it, I mean, he came out in, like, what, early December? You look at this card and you're like, oh my God, like, this is a pretty decent CM. Like, why was no one using him? I mean, the fact of the matter is he had power shot, which we've already discussed is a little bit crap. He had finesse shot as a base, which for a centre mid is a little bit useless, but also as a base is quite poor. Then, this is where we get into it. He has base chip shot. First of all, why? But anyway, base chip shot, base power header, base acrobatic, and base long throw. I mean, what a set of playstyles is that? No passing. Okay. You know what? Let's not even get into the specifics of like this card, right? So he doesn't have any other passing playstyles, which he would need and would be beneficial. But fine. Let's now take this set of playstyles, which EA have actually given to a promo card, right? And let's just say that these playstyles, for whatever reason, whether they were on a card you evoed or EA next year make, I don't know, give this to Vitinha. Let's pretend for a second that the stats are different, but the playstyles are exactly the same. And this is like Vitinha or Camavinga, who's like 83 rated. Let's say you then take that card and evo them one time, right? And that evo gives them 4 extra playstyles or 5 extra playstyles, right? And those 5 extra playstyles are probably going to be useful because these are the useless ones. You now have a card that's probably going to be, if this is early on in the game cycle, you have maybe an 85, 86 rated card that has 11 playstyles, which now means it's going to be ineligible from Evos for, I don't know what the current max is, but for a while, right? But 4 of your playstyles are chip shot, power header, acrobatic, and long throw. And you just have to sit there with this awful card that you're not going to play with, but you want to play with, and he's not going to be fit into Evos, all because he has too many playstyles. That is something that EA have to address, as well as adjusting some of these playstyles, so that the whole system in its entirety makes sense. And that is what I think EA should change to make this game better, make the playstyle system better. I think it's good, but I think they should improve it. They're doing well. I really like the addition recently of Low Driven. I think it's a great playstyle. More of that, EA. Let me know if you think any of the playstyles should be changed that I haven't mentioned. Let me know if you think I'm just wrong about some things. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Oh, and like and subscribe, you know, all that good stuff.